Video. Good evening, guys. Yeah, can you tell me what was the thing we are discussing other day? Spring bean scopes, right? As part of that, we discussed the difference between singleton scope and singleton Java class. Singleton Java class means class level restriction to create one object for Java class, right? We design class in such a fashion, if they want also, they cannot create second, third objects. Singleton scope means what? Container level restriction to create one object for Spring Bean class. Agree with me, my dear? Yes. Task manager. Here is what? iCloud. End task. If no scope is given, what's the default scope? Okay. If you ask ctx.getBean method passing bean ID of singleton scope Spring Bean, how many objects will come? One object. You may get a number of reference variable pointing to that object, but all references will point to same object. How can you say all of them are pointing to single object? If you print the hash code of all these objects, you will get the same hash code or not? You will definitely get the same hash code, not the different hash codes. This is what we discussed other day. Let me open the document, guys. Video is not available. Huh? Okay. Video is back. File open. Can you tell me what is our document batch code? 515. Spring Core. What was the last session happened? March 8th? Yeah, 9th Sunday, March 8th. Yes, I don't want to save this document. Let's open it. March 8th document. Yes, in annotation driven configuration, Saturday class notes is not uploaded. No problem. Today I'll upload. What is there in that? Okay. If you want to specify scope, what is the annotation we got? @scope. It can be used at class level along with the component annotation. Come on. It can also be used as method level along with @bean annotation. Come on, guys. Okay, that's great. See, guys, other day I have shown singleton is applied at what level? Class level. Yeah, @scope singleton. That's great. Okay. Singleton is applied at what level? This level. @scope singleton. @scope singleton. Right. This is my WMG. This is my WMG. This is my what? WMG. Okay, guys. Yeah. When should I take Spring Bean class as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean. In which situation? Are the same reasons, guys. If Spring Bean is designed without state, if Spring Bean is designed with only read-only state, final variable. If Spring Bean is designed having shareable state, like country's information that is common for every time, it will not change regularly. In that situation also we can think about going for that, na boss? Okay. When should I take Spring Bean class as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean. Yes, guys. Now let's see this. If Spring Bean class is not having state or data, no properties declaration. If Spring Bean class is having only fixed state or data, only final properties declaration. If Spring Bean is having what? Only shareable data, the state that can be shared across the multiple classes like what? Like class holding countries information. Yes, na boss? Singleton Java class allow us to create single object because the logic is placed inside of the class. Right. For singleton scope Spring Bean, the IOC container creates what, guys? Single object. Though Spring Bean class is what? Normal class. And allows to create what? And allows to create multiple objects because IOC container level allows to create singleton scope Spring Bean is normal and allows to create multiple objects a single object. Okay, why multiple word has come? Yes, guys. Allows to create single object. What object? Allows to create a single object. Allows to create only single object because of what, guys? Because of IOC container level restrictions. What restrictions, guys? IOC container level restriction. Normal water got this. Does the singleton scope makes Spring Bean class as what? Singleton Java class. No, our Spring Bean class does not become singleton Java class, but it makes the IOC container to create single object for Spring Bean with respect to what? Bean ID. Without making Java class as singleton Java class, we can make Spring Bean class just having only one object through singleton scope of the IOC container. I don't want to make class as Spring Bean class as singleton Java class, but I want to bring its effect. Then singleton scope is very, very useful or not, guys? Say something, my dear. Then singleton scope is very, very useful or not, guys? What happens if you make real singleton Java class as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean. A real singleton Java class I have taken as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean. It's a double benefit now, boss. Class level restriction, container level restriction. Happily it will create only one object now, boss. If you configure same class as multiple Spring Beans with a different bean IDs by enabling what? Constructor based object creation, then single pen pattern can be broken. Different bean IDs. Now that's why. If you enable factory method based bean instantiation, okay, then the singleton pattern cannot be broken. So now listen. If you enable constructor based object creation for singleton scope Java class, guys, singleton Java class that is acting as a singleton scope Spring Bean. Okay, definitely singleton pattern will be broken. Why? Because IOC container can access private constructor to create Spring Bean class object. So you have given two different bean IDs, not two objects will be created. Three different bean IDs, not three objects will be created. 10 different bean IDs, na boss, 10 objects will be created. Everyone getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Super. Strategy DP Spring Bean scopes, guys. Strategy DP Spring Bean scopes. Let me what is the question? What happens if you make real singleton Java class as singleton scope Spring Bean? Shall we try this? Is it not our real singleton class, guys? Yes, 10 is the package. Saturday we discussed about this. Okay, say paste. Right click paste. Here is my what? com.nt.sten. This is my printer.java na boss. This is my printer.java. This is seriously my what? Printer.java, guys. Public class printer, public static printer instance. Printer zero param constructor, get instance. Okay, print data. So I want to make this one as a Spring Bean, guys. How to make this class as Spring Bean? At the rate component. What is there? At the rate component. Okay, PRN is the bean ID. What is the scope I am taking, guys? At the rate scope singleton. If no scope is given, default scope is what? Single. If you give, you don't give, really does not matter. Strategy DP test. What is there? Strategy DP test. File, save as, what is this? Strategy DP test1.java. Here is what? Strategy DP test1.java. That's great. Okay. I'm trying to get access to singleton class object multiple times, right? Okay. Singleton class configured as Spring Bean only for one time, that too having singleton scope. So what happens, guys? Already I have chosen singleton scope na single bean ID. Only one object will be created or not, guys? Yes, guys. Access Spring Bean class object reference. What is there? Printer. What is there, guys? Printer PRN1. What is there? CTX dot get bean. What is there? PRN1 comma printer dot class. PRN1 comma printer dot class. First time. Okay. What's the bean ID, guys? PRN or PRN1 or PRN? Yes, PRN1. Okay, that's great. Paste. Here is what? PRN2. Here is PRN3. That's PRN1 dot hash code space. PRN2 dot hash code. PRN3 dot hash code. We are printing multiple hash codes or not, guys? We are printing multiple hash codes or not, guys? Okay, guys. Let's have a look. Singleton strategy DP test 1. Okay. Yeah. What's the problem? Anyone can guess why it's a problem? No, it's not PRN2 dot hash code, Ram, my dear. I will tell the reason. Anyone can guess? Yeah, PRN1 dot hash code should come second time. That's not a error. Can I get one chair? Yeah, that is not the reason. The reason is in component scanning, we are giving SBeans package. Are we giving a singleton related package name? Or in component scanning, we have to give the package name where these @ component annotation classes are placed. Come on, See, go to configuration class, my dear. This is my configuration class, app.config.java. Here, what is the package name I mentioned? SBeans, right? But what is the package name of the printer class? Yesten. Yesten is the sub package of SBeans? No. So then I need to mention the package name, my dear. Yeah, multiple values means array. First element here, comma. Second element is what? com.nt.yesten. com.nt.yesten. That's great. StatsDP test1. Run as Java application. Okay, 065, 065, 065. Same object is created or not, guys? Sir, provide constructor is there. Okay, guys. Now listen. You don't want to give two packages. Okay, you can give the base package of both. What is the common package of both, guys? Okay, com.nt is the common package. Yes, we can give single package like this also. Base package is what is there? com.nt. What dot nt, guys? com.nt. That's great. StatsDP test run as a Java application. Same thing is coming now, boss. Did you notice one thing? Though class is having private constructor, IOC container is able to create object for printer class. That means IOC container is using some special technique to access the private constructor and to create the object. Come on, guys. Yeah, that is nothing but reflection API. IOC container internally uses reflection API to get access to private constructor while creating Spring Bean class object. While creating what? Spring Bean class object. Are you comfortable, my dear, or not there? Super, guys. Note. IOC container uses the reflection API. What API, guys? Reflection API support. Reflection API support to get access to what there? IOC container and to create is there Spring Bean class object. To get access to IOC container and to create what? Spring Bean class. 1 minute to get access to private constructor. To get access to private constructor and to create Spring Bean class. And to create Spring Bean class object. Convinced, boss? Come on, everyone. Yeah. So singleton scope will not be broken. Java class, singleton Java class will not be broken because class is singleton class, scope is also singleton. How it will be broken, guys? Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Okay. Now listen. What I do is, I don't configure because in annotation environment on the top of the class only one time I can write @ component, only one bean ID I can give now, boss. So what I do is I'll try to make this class as what? Spring Bean. I'll try to make this class as what? Spring Bean. Are you getting my point there, guys? I'll try to make this class as Spring Bean using what? @bean methods. What methods, guys? Okay, sir, you try with multiple bean IDs, na? Then we will see once. Okay, come here in this place. Tell me, public printer, create printer one. What is there? create printer one, return. Can I use zero param constructor outside the class to create object? No. So I am forced to use get instance method only, na boss. Get instance. Here is what? At the rate bean. At the rate bean. Tell me next one. Public printer. Create printer 2. What is there? Create printer 2. Return printer dot get instance. Printer dot get instance. What is there, guys? At the rate bean name is equal to prn2. At the rate bean name is equal to, what is there? prn1. At the rate bean name is equal to, I'm giving two different bean IDs na boss. Okay, that's great. Here also I am taking what? At the rate scope. What is the scope I am mentioning? Singleton. At the rate scope singleton. Next. At the rate scope singleton. Clear, guys? Super. Strategy DP test. Let's comment these two things, guys. Let's comment these two things. Printer 1 printer 1 I'm trying with what, guys? PRN1, PRN1. Okay, that's great. Next. Printer 2 PRN2, PRN2. Here is what? 2. Here is what, guys? 2. That's great. Sysout PRN1 dot hash code printed. Yeah, PRN 12 dot hash code printed. Next, PRN21 dot hash code printed. What is there? PRN22 dot hash code printed. Everyone getting my point there, guys? Come on. Strategy DP test 1. Here is my Java application. 437, 437, 437. Lot of 437s are there or not there, guys? I'm printing the hash code 437, 437, 437. Lot of 437s are there or not there, guys? Come on, everyone. Got the clarity or not? So we printed the hash codes here, guys. Come on, everyone. We printed, but all the time same hash codes are coming. Why? Though I have taken as 2 Spring Bean, I am calling the same method there. I am calling the same method here or not, guys? Okay, since I am calling the same method, so that method anyhow having singleton logic, it checks whether object is already created or not. Created, returns the existing object. Not created. Okay, create a new object. So all the time it will try to return same object or not, guys? All the time it will try to return same object or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Super, guys. Whatever I discuss, same thing is there. Default scope is singleton. Here same singleton Java class is configured as Spring Bean with the 2 different bean ID. With the default scope what? Singleton. But it gives the same hash code or not? PRN1, PRN2. Here I am printing hash code, here I am printing hash code. Gives the same hash codes or not, guys? Come on. Super. The singleton scope of Spring Bean will be continued only when factory method based Spring instantiation is enabled. On singleton Java class that is configured as what? Singleton scope Spring Bean, right? Super, guys. without taking Spring Bean code as singleton Java class code, to bring the similar effect of singleton class behavior, we need to take Spring Bean scope as what? Singleton. Are what they say, you need not to make class as singleton Java class in order to bring that effect. You just ask IOC container to maintain Spring Bean scope as what? Singleton. Though class is not singleton Java class, that effect will come or not, guys? Similar effect will come or not, guys? Okay. In real projects, are a real projects we develop as a layered application or a single class application? So layered application means what, guys? We keep different logics in different classes. We make them talking to each other or not, guys? In that one, service class will be there having business logic. DAO class will be there having persistence logic, JDBC code. Controller class will be there having what? Monitoring logics. Are you getting my point? Generally, these classes will never have state. If they are also, they will have a read-only state. Either they have read-only state or no state. So when class is not having state or read-only state, it's better to take the scope as what? Singleton scope or not, guys? Come on. It's better to take the scope as what? Singleton scope or not, guys? Or be active, my dear. I want reply from you people. In real projects, service class, class with business logic, DAO class, class with persistence logic, controller class, class with monitoring logic, as a singleton scope Spring Beans, because generally these class contains no state or fixed state or shareable state. So these three situations are very much suitable to make the class as what? Singleton class. But instead of making class as singleton class, similar effect we can bring with the support of what? Singleton scope Spring Bean or not, guys? The real projects will be developed as what applications? Layered application. That means we take multiple classes having different logics and we make them talking to each other. 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 Yeah. What is the first one, guys? Okay, what is the first one? Service class. Okay. Java class with business logics. When I say business logic, what they are, guys? Calculations, validations, sortings, filterings, and etc. Next, DAO class. What is there? Java class with persistence logics. What logics, guys? JDBC logics, Hibernate logics, and etc. Right, guys? Oh. Yeah, what's the next one we got? Controller classes. What class, guys? Controller class. Java class with what logic, guys? Monitoring logics. Java class with what? Monitoring logics. Yeah, what kind of monitoring logics, guys? Okay. Logging, auditing, and etc. Logging, auditing, and what? Etc. Everyone convinced with me or not, guys? All singleton scope Spring Bean participates in what? Pre or eager or early instantiation. That means the object will be created the moment IOC container is created, irrespective of CTX dot get bean method is called or not. Irrespective of CTX dot get bean method is called or not. Dependency injection dependency injections are performed or not. Ultimate story here is very simple, Rababu. The moment you created the container, object is created for singleton scope Spring Bean or not, guys? Okay. Only singleton scope Spring Bean participates what? Only for singleton scope in this I think problem with microphone, not internet. Once please set it. Shiva Prasad, online student, am I audible? Am I loud and clear, guys? Only for singleton scope Spring Bean this pre-instantiation take place. Yeah, Suprasad, everyone saying it's clear. I think from your side, your laptop is having some issue, guys. Okay. So you want to feel that pre-instantiation? Everyone, please have a look. I just created IOC container. I am not calling any ctx.getBean method. And for most of the beans, what I have taken, no scope or singleton scope. No scope means what is the default scope, guys? No scope means what's the default scope, guys? See, happily offer all these things, objects are created or not, guys? Did I ask for ctx.getBean? Did I am doing any injections? Just a container created. Happily object is created or not, guys? Yeah, now listen carefully. You go to SBeans, guys. Okay, on the top of diesel engine, the pre-instantiation, eager instantiation is one and the same or not? I think we already discussed. Lazy is equal to true. What is equal to true, guys? Lazy is equal to true. Strategy DP test 1 run as Java application. Okay, now diesel engine object is not participating in pre-instantiation. Did you notice that? Lazy true is taken, na? That's why. So now you go to printer class, guys. Okay, printer is configured in the configuration class. Somewhere I have kept at the rate lazy true. What true, guys? At the rate lazy true. Okay, tell me. At the rate lazy true. At the rate lazy true. Tell me. Strategy DP test, guys. What is that? Strategy DP test. Run as Java application. It's coming or not coming, guys? Is there any printer class object there? That means by using lazy true, I can enable lazy loading. What do you mean by lazy loading? Until there is a need of creating object, it will not be created. Okay, when you call ctx.getBean having bean ID, then only object will be created. When you configure as a dependent for injection, then only object will be created. Till that time, no object will be created. Clear, my dear? Come on, everyone. How to disable pre-instantiation on singleton scope Spring Bean? Use lazy true along with the component or at the rate bean method to enable lazy or late instantiation on singleton scope Spring Bean. That means the IOC container creates Spring Bean class object only when need is there. Like ctx.getBean is called having bean ID, or the bean ID is made dependent to what? Another bean ID. Another spring bean, guys. Lazy true, lazy true. Everywhere this is placed or not, guys. Okay, I think you got the crystal clear clarity about singleton scope. Tell me. Question number 1. What is the default scope if no scope is specified? Okay, singleton scope makes Java class as Spring Bean class as singleton Java class. Yes, sir, no, na. Yes, sir. Hit your head to wall, waste fellow. Singleton scope makes Spring Bean class as a singleton Java class. No. That's what we are shouting now from that time. That is what I am shouting. It won't make the class as singleton Java class, but it gives that effect. Without making class as singleton Java class, if you want to bring the effect of singleton scope is the best option or not, guys? Okay. Singleton scope Spring Bean class objects will be kept in the internal cache of IOC container for reusability. Yes or no? Na? I want answer from everyone. Online student, did you keep any, or what is that? Any duff and dumb items in your mouth? Okay. It will keep in only singleton scope objects will be kept. Right. Next one. Okay, next one. What is the difference between singleton Java class, singleton scope of Spring Bean? Singleton class is allows to create one object because of class level restriction. Singleton scope bin, no class level restriction because we have IOC container level restriction. Only one object will be created. Because we have what? IOC container level restriction. Only one object will be created. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. Got the clarity, my dear? Okay. Next one, guys. Okay. When scope is singleton scope Spring Bean, pre-instantiation is by default. What do you mean by pre-instantiation of singleton scope Spring Bean? The moment IOC container is created, irrespective of whether you are asking for bean object or not, the Spring Bean class object will be created or not, guys. The Spring Bean class object will be created or not, guys. Come on. Okay, that's great news. What is another great news you have, guys? What's another great news you have got? Okay. How to disable or pre-instantiation on singleton scope Spring Beans? At the rate lazy true. That's a way to create disable pre-instantiation on singleton scope Spring Bean or not, guys? Okay, guys, that's good. So shall we go for next discussion, guys? Okay, that is prototype scope. What scope, guys? Okay, that's great. Spring core. I'm looking for what? 17th and 18th. Yeah, what's the next scope you have to understand, guys? Prototype scope Spring Bean. What's your batch code? 515. Spring core. Yeah. What's your batch code again? 515. Yeah. What's the date, my dear? Yeah. March 10th, 11th. Today's date is 11th, 2025. More on Spring Bean scopes and stereotype annotations. I'll introduce what are the stereotype annotations. Don't worry. Total, how many scopes are there? 6 are there. What are those scopes? Can you tell me? Singleton, prototype, request, session, application, WebSocket. Total, how many scopes are there? 6 scopes are there. So far, how many scopes we completed? Okay, which scopes can be used in both web application and normal application? Singleton and prototype scopes, right? Remaining all scopes can be used only in what? Standalone, web application or distributed application, right? Okay, prototype. Sir, scope prototype, that's okay. If it is XML, how to mention this scope? In XML driven configuration, we can use scope attribute of bean tag. What is there? We cannot see your image. Please adjust the camera. Anyone, are you able to see my face, guys? Not you, Rava. Oh, this problem, huh? Oh, okay. Now, am I audible? Am I visible? Yeah. IOC container creates separate object for Spring Bean class for every ctx.getBean method call. You call ctx.getBean 100 times. 100 objects are 200 times, 200 object. These objects will not be kept in internal cache of IOC container. If they kept, they are forced to go for reusability. Reusability means same object will be reused, right? And that Spring Bean class object will not be placed in what? Internal cache of the IOC. Or when every time fresh object is coming, what is need of keeping in internal cache, guys? When reusability is not required, there is no question of keeping in what? Internal cache. I hope you noticed that. If Spring Bean class object state is changing time to time, not fixed state or no state or shareable state. It is varying state, guys, changing state, right? Okay, then it is recommended to take the scope as what? Prototype scope. So that for every data change, one new object will be created for the Spring Bean. Okay, object statement, object data, the data that is stored in what? Member variable. Object behavior means what? Object logic. The logic that are placed in what? Methods. The logic that are placed in what? Methods. Everyone getting my point there or not there? Yeah, tell me what is there, guys? Lazy true. Lazy true is applicable only for singleton scope Spring Beans to disable pre-or eager instantiation on singleton scope Spring Bean. Lazy true does not give effect on other Spring Beans because they are always enabled with what? Lazy instantiation. Okay, only for singleton scope, lazy true will work. Remaining by default, they are not participating in pre-instantiation. Is there any meaning of keeping lazy true, my dear? Is there any meaning of creating lazy true, my dear? Come on, guys. Okay, guys. Object state means member variables data, guys. Object behavior means what? The logic kept in methods. Behavior means what? The logic kept in method. Same application. You come to this. Here you go to vehicle class, guys. Okay, singleton default, but prototype is not default, my dear. Copy this, paste it. Here I am taking this one as what? Prototype. I'm taking this one as what? Prototype. Okay, that's great. Come to this class, strategy DP class, guys. Which class, my dear? Strategy DP class. This is my main strategy DP test class, guys. Okay, that's great. How many times I asked for vehicle class object? 3 times. How many times ctx.getBean method is called? 3 times. How many times ctx.getBean method is called? 3 times. Okay, that's great. Okay, now Forget about remaining things. I'm printing hash codes now, boss. Tell me, what is your wild guess? Three different objects are created or single object is created? Ah, for which class? Vehicle class. For which class? Vehicle class. Run as Java application. Tell me, how many times vehicle class constructor executed? 3 times. How many hash codes have come? Three different hash codes have come. That means three different objects are created or not, guys. Three different objects are created or not, guys. Come on, everyone. Super. At the rate lazy true applicable only for what? Singleton scope Spring Bean to disable what? Pre-instantiation. Okay, Levin. Use different hash codes or not, guys. And if I try to compare, both are pointing to same object or not, we get the false message over there. We get the true message or false message. Okay. If Spring Bean scope is prototype, the Spring Bean class object reference will not be placed in the internal cache of IOC container. So ctx.getBean does not find prototype scope Spring Bean object reference in the internal cache of IOC container. Hence, it creates new object for every ctx.getBean method call. It is not there in internal cache. So that's why it always try to create a new object or not, guys. So why they have not given pre-instantiation for singleton scope Spring Bean? Is there any reason behind it, sir? Yes, there is a reason behind it. I will tell the reason, boss. You want to know the solid reason behind it? The reason is very simple and straightforward. That is, if created also, it's a waste. Why? When you call ctx.getBean, one more new object will come now, boss. See, every day you are preparing fresh food. You are against of eating old stock food, right? So leftover item, if you keep in the refrigerator also, it's a waste, na? That's why they are not keeping in the refrigerator itself. They are once eating is over, they are throwing out the wastage food. They are throwing out the wastage food. Convinced with me, guys? Come on, everyone. Right. What happens if we configure? This is tricky question. Real singleton Java class has prototype scope Spring Bean. Prototype says create multiple object. Singleton says create only one object. Yes or no? Na? It is contradiction or not? Singleton Java class one object. Prototype says you create any number of objects you want. That depends, boss. Listen carefully. If IOC container is creating prototype scope singleton Java class Spring Bean using constructor by using reflection API. Okay, singleton class pattern will be broken. Singleton class pattern will be broken. If the same IOC container is doing that work by using factory method bean instantiation, then singleton class pattern will not be broken. Then singleton class pattern will not be broken because factory method makes sure that always one object is created and returned. Will make sure that always one object is created and what? Returned. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay, guys. Here is my what, guys? Yes, beans. In this place, what is there? Vehicle. In this place, what is there, guys? Not vehicle. I have to take what? Real singleton class. Okay, I'm making it as a Spring Bean, guys. I'm also taking it as what? Prototype scope Spring Bean. What is there? Prototype scope Spring Bean. What is there, guys? Prototype. Real singleton Java class, but scope is taken as what? Prototype. That's great. Here is my what? Strategy DP test 1. Okay, for the time being, go to configuration class. Go to configuration class. Done. Strategy DP test 1. Here at IOC container is created or not, guys? Definitely created. That's great. Yeah. IOC container is created or not, guys? What's the bean ID of printer class? PRN. What's the scope? Prototype. Yes. But, okay, when you call like this, it will try to create object by using constructor. So our private constructor, no problem. IOC container is very powerful. It uses reflection access to what? Private constructor. To simply get access to what? Private constructor. Strategy DP test 1. Right click. Run as. What is there? Java application. See, 3 different objects are created or not. That means singleton pattern is. Achha, this is not right. I'm cheating you, boss. We have to run this one. Right click. Run as Java application. How many objects are created for printer class? How many hash codes are coming for printer class? That means singleton class pattern is broken or not, guys? If you enable constructor based object creation for singleton class, the singleton pattern will be broken. What will be broken, guys? The singleton pattern will be broken. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. The singleton pattern will be broken. Okay. Now, I go to printer class. I will not configure here. I will go to config class, guys. Not 2 times or okay, multiple times also no problem. PRN1, PRN2. What is there, guys? PRN1, PRN2. Okay, that's good. Strategy DP test. Strategy DP test. Done. Yes, here is my what? Printer 11, printer 22. Printer 11, printer 22. Okay, this is what. But this time what is happening? In configuration class, factory method bean instantiation is there. What is that? Static factory method. Method based bean instantiation. Same thing is enabled here also now, my dear. Come on, everyone. Say paste. Static factory method based bean instantiation. Yes. Right click, run as Java application. Right click, run as Java application. 404, 404, 404, 404. Everywhere object is created or not created? Same object is created now, boss. That means singleton pattern is continued or not, guys? So what is the question and answer? If I configure real singleton Java class as prototype scope Spring Bean, singleton pattern will be continued or will not be continued? This is the question, right? Okay, answer. Will be continued if you enable factory method based bean instantiation. Will not be continued if you allow constructor based object creation. Yes, na boss? Right. Same thing is given here. Check it out. IOC contain. If IOC container is creating singleton class object by accessing private constructor, then prototype scope will be continued. That means IOC container creates what? Multiple objects for multiple CTX dot get bean method calls. Generally, the private constructor of Java class is not visible outside the Java class, but we can make it accessible using the support of what? Reflection API. IOC container uses Reflection API internally to access private constructor of Spring Bean class as part of what? Spring Bean instantiation. What instantiation, guys? As part of Spring Bean instantiation. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. Reason is IOC container is not doing static factory method. Here, why two different hash codes are coming? Singleton. It is instantiated directly using zero param constructor by accessing the constructor using reflection API. That's why two different hash codes are coming now, boss. Answer 2. If we enable static factory method based instantiation for prototype scope Spring Bean, whose class is singleton Java class, then the singleton behavior will be continued or not, guys? Then the singleton behavior will be continued or not, guys? I want reply, my dear. Come on, everyone. Yeah, this is my prototype. Enabled with static factory method bean instantiation for singleton Java class. Yeah, this time what, guys? Use the same hash code because singleton Java class is getting what? Instantiated through static factory method where singleton classic is available. Check it out. Here I am going by what? We are going by what? At the rate bean method. Here object creation is happening by calling static factory method or not, guys? In which singleton logic is already available. Come on. Super, guys. Can we keep private constructor in Spring Bean Java class? Yes, we can keep because the IOC container can access what? Private constructor while creating object. Internally, the reflection API will be used. What will be used, guys? Can we take Spring Bean class as what? Private Java class? No. As we cannot take outer classes as private classes, we cannot think about taking what? Spring Bean classes as private inner classes. Array. Yeah, we can. So we cannot take outer classes, boss. We cannot take outer classes as private classes, right? And only inner classes can be private, and Spring Beans cannot be inner classes, right, boss? So that's why overall we cannot take private classes, but we can take what? Private constructor. IOC container is powerful enough to use what? Reflection API to access private constructor and to create Spring Bean class object. To access private constructor and also to create what? Spring Bean class object. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. How can we give singleton scope effect for the Spring Bean? Though its scope is what? Prototype. Though its scope is what? Prototype. Are you getting my point? If the prototype scope Spring Bean is dependent to target singleton scope Spring Bean, somehow dependent Spring Bean behaves like what? Singleton scope Spring Bean indirectly. Okay, now listen. Singleton is the target, prototype is the dependent. Singleton participates in pre-instantiation. At that time only injection happens. Who is the dependent? Prototype. Prototype object has to be created very lately, na? But it will be created along with the singleton as part of pre-instantiation. Why? Injection has to be completed on singleton, na, boss. Once again. Singleton is the target. Prototype is the dependent. Yes? Singleton participate in pre-instantiation. Come on. At that time only injection has to be completed. Who is the dependent? But though it is prototype, object will be created as part of pre-instantiation. Don't think the scope is changed to prototype. No. Scope is changed to still prototype only. Scope is not changed to singleton, right? Only to support injection activity, prototype scope Spring Bean class object also will be pre-instantiated. Will also be pre-instantiated. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. Are simple ra babu. Husband, boy, girl married. Girl is vegetarian. Okay, boy is what? Non-vegetarian. So then what happens, guys? For the sake of boy, girl has to change to non-vegetarian, or for the sake of girl, boy may change to vegetarian. Possibility is there or not there? One more case. You are not rich, but you want to become rich. What to do? Marry a person who is rich. Aisa no na boss. Same thing. You are not singleton, but you want singleton behavior. How to get that? Though you are dependent to, but you are dependent to singleton scope target. Along with the target, dependent object will be created for injection activity. Along with the target, dependent object will be created or not, guys? Super, guys. If the prototype scope Spring Bean is dependent to target singleton scope Spring Bean, somehow the dependent Spring Bean behaves like what? Singleton scope Spring Bean indirectly. What, guys? Indirectly. Prototype scope Spring Bean will also be pre-instantiated along with what? Singleton scope Spring Bean. Yes, na boss? Because only to complete the injection. If you are always planning to access dependent Spring Bean object through target Spring Bean object, then only one dependent Spring Bean class object will be created to inject to target Spring Bean, though dependent Spring Bean is what? Prototype scope. Okay, now listen. Though prototype, when does it become singleton? Okay, target is singleton, dependent is prototype. Somehow prototype behaves like what? Singleton only. Reason, proof number one. Along with the singleton, dependent also will be instantiated and injected or not? Number two. Tell me, what is number two? Number two is very popular, guys. Number two is very one. Okay. It is injected to target. Target, how many objects are created? One. Okay. To the target, how many dependents will be injected? One. So though prototype scope dependent, since only one object is required for injection, so only one object for prototype will be created or not? That means though it is prototype, somehow it got restriction of having only one object now, my dear. Somehow it has got the restriction of having only one object now, my dear. I want reply, guys. Super, guys. If we configure real singleton Java class as what? Prototype scope Spring Bean by enabling static factory method bean instantiation. What is that, guys? Scope is prototype, but I have enabled what? Static factory method bean instantiation because class is singleton class. That time also it creates only one object now, my dear. Very popular tricky question. Though prototype scope Spring Bean is taken, when does it behaves like a singleton? Number one, when prototype scope Spring Bean is made as dependent to target singleton scope Spring Bean. Because it also participate in pre-instantiation for completing injection. Yes. Okay. How many targets will be created? One. To the target, how many dependents will be injected? One. Though scope is prototype for dependent, it will inject only one object now, my dear. Perfect. It will inject only one object now, my dear. I want reply, my dear. Come on, everyone. Okay, next one, guys. What is the next one? If we configure real singleton Java class as what? Prototype scope Spring Bean by enabling static factory method bean instantiation. Static factory method means singleton class. Static factory method, only one object will be created. So that means those scope is prototype. Somehow it is behaving like a singleton or not, guys. Okay, guys. Next one. If we don't provide bean ID to the Spring Bean class, then what happens? Default bean ID will be taken. I think other day we discussed about this. Discussed or not? Okay. The IOC container generates default bean ID for Spring Bean. In XML driven configuration, fully qualified class name #n. In annotation driven configuration using @ component, class name first letter lowercase. Class name first letter lowercase. Come on, my dear. That's great. Okay. In @bean method based Spring Bean creation. What is that? @bean method based Spring Bean creation. The method name becomes what? Bean ID. Default bean ID. Let me prove all these things, guys. Let me prove all these things. Vehicle class, I am giving component but no bean ID. I am giving component at no bean ID. @component no bean ID. Okay. App config class, guys. What is the class we got? App config class. What is the class we got? App config class. @bean prn1 scope singleton lazy true. Okay, no bean ID. I'm just keeping @bean. Okay, @bean. @bean. Okay. Already XML level we already discussed. Okay, in XML classes we already discussed. Fully qualified class name #n. #0, #1, #2, #3. One time configuration means #0. Second time same class configuration means #1. Fully qualified class name hash. Okay, now today, okay, how to print all the beans at once, guys? Forget about all this thing. I would like to print all the bean IDs, boss. Okay. String bean IDs array. What array, guys? Bean IDs array. CTX dot get deem definition names. Sysout. What is there? Bean IDs are arrays dot to string bean IDs. Arrays dot to string bean IDs. Are we getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Strategy DP test 1. Here is my Java application. Here are my bean IDs na, boss. Come on. See. App config, no bean ID na. Class name has become bean ID. Check it out. App config. Is there any bean ID for it, guys? Not there. The class name has become bean ID or not, guys? Okay, that's great. A small letter, guys. A small letter. Okay, next one. In vehicle class, V has become default bean ID, boss. In vehicle class, V has become default bean ID, my dear. Super. Create printer 1, printer 2. Create printer 1, printer 2. See, method name has become default bean ID. Vehicle class name has become default bean ID. V small letter, come on. Okay, app config A small letter. So that means while working with @ component, default bean ID is class name. Okay, first letter in lowercase. In @ bean method, method name is default bean ID, right? Method name is default bean ID. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. The method name becomes what? Default bean ID. Okay, guys. In XML file, fully qualified class name hash bean ID. Okay. Let me show one thing in XML level also. This is XML driven configuration, my dear. Okay. Configuration file, XML file. What file, guys? XML file. I do one thing. I don't configure with the default bean ID. Okay. I'm wantedly removing what? This. I'm wantedly removing this, right? No bean IDs are given. And whenever you get red mark like this, you change HTTP to HTTPS, the error should go. If not going also, no problem. com.nt.this. Okay. Right. Forget about all this stuff. Comment everything, guys. Here also I will try to display all bean IDs. String, what is this? IDs array. CTX dot get bean definition names. Sysout. Bean IDs are, what is there? Arrays dot, what is there? Arrays dot toString IDs. Arrays dot toString IDs. Dependency injection test. No bean L time is available. I agree with you. In application.xml, we are injecting both na boss. We are injecting both. Okay, 1 minute. So let's not disturb that part. Okay. Here I don't give any bean ID. For wish message generator, I don't give any bean ID. Right click, guys, run as, what is there? Java application. Have a look on this. L time, L date we have given. See, com.nt dot sbeans dot wish message generator hash 0. First time na hash 0. Second time same bean is configured hash 1. Third time same bean is configured hash 2. Like these things will take place or not, guys? Like that things will take place over there or not there? Yes. What's the default bean ID? IOC container takes default bean ID based on the approach that we have used to configure what? This. Okay. Can I give conclusion, guys? Okay. Where is the conclusion? At the end, I want to give. In XML driven configuration. What is that? In XML driven configuration. The default bean ID is, what is there? The default bean ID is, the default bean ID is, okay, what is there? Fully qualified class name hash n. That's it. Fully qualified class name means complete package along. In, okay, in at the rate component based Spring Bean configuration. The default bean ID is, the default bean ID is, tell me, boss. The default bean ID is fully qualified class name hash n. At the rate component based Spring Bean, the default bean ID is how much, guys? Yeah. Class name hash. Okay, let's know. Just class name having first letter in lowercase. In what? Lowercase. In at the rate bean method based Spring Bean configuration. What, guys? The default bean ID is method name. That's it. Just method name. I hope you convinced, guys. Yeah, these are only for interview sake, guys. Don't think they are so important. We are launching, we are only for, if no bean ID is given, the IOC container provides what? Default bean ID. That is what I want to tell. Okay. Yes, my dear. Yeah. What is the difference between IOC and dependency injection? Very popular interview question. IOC is the software specification that provides rules and guidelines to manage the dependency between target and dependent classes. To manage the dependency between target and dependent classes. Are you getting my point there, guys? That is purely given to manage the dependency between target and dependent classes. What classes, guys? Target class and dependent class. Dependency injection, dependency lookup are the two techniques implementing IOC. Are the two techniques implementing the IOC. IOC is the software specification having set of rules and guidelines to manage the dependency among the component like target and dependent Spring Bean. Dependency lookup, dependency injection are the two implementation models that are given based on what? IOC rules and guidelines. What is IOC, guys? Theory. What is DLDI, guys? Practicals based on theory. Which theory? IOC theory. Which theory, guys? IOC theory. IOC is like planning. DL, what is DL? DL means dependency lookup. Dependency lookup means DL, guys. DL. Dependency injection. What is there? DI. DL, DI are the real implementation of that planning. Which planning? IOC planning. What is that planning, guys? IOC planning. What is the latest version of Spring Framework software, right? Okay, it is not correct, guys. What is there? This is according to that day, that is the latest, boss. Right now, 6.3.3 or 2 na? Arey, why to waste time? 1 minute. Okay, mvnrepository.com. Search for Spring Context Support. Select the jar. You will get the latest. Latest is 7, that's a beta version. 7.0 is beta version. 6.2.3 is the latest version. Okay, latest. 7.0.0 is the beta. Officially not released, guys, beta version. Okay. What is the latest version of Spring Boot framework? Though I have not launched it, but let me check it. Spring Boot latest version. Spring JDBC starter. Some starter, guys. Their jars are called starters. Special jars are called starters. That is a symbol of Spring Boot 3.4.3. What is there? 3.4.3. 3.4.3. Three point 4.3. All new projects in Java are happening in what? Spring 6.x, Spring Boot 3.2.x. Okay. Spring Boot 3.2.x. That's the standard version, guys. 3.2.x versions. Right. The maintenance projects of Java, the Spring versions are 4.x or 5.x. Spring Boot versions are 2. Main means what? Old project. Already developed and released, but they are there for what? Maintenance, bug fixing kind of thing. When should I take Spring Bean scope as what? Prototype scope. If Spring Bean, the scope of Spring Bean is, if not the scope, guys, if the data of Spring Bean, here scope or state or state. If the state of Spring Bean is changing time to time, like storing form data to Spring Bean class object, or all the time end user will use same form data, or I am creating my email ID, your email ID. My data is different, your data is different. My registration form details data is different, your registration form data details are different. Let us assume such data you want to store in what? Spring Bean class object. Such data you want to store in what? Spring Bean class object. In that situation, this is very useful now, boss. If the state of Spring Bean is changing time to time, like storing form data to Spring Bean class object, then we need to take that Spring Bean as what? Prototype scope Spring Bean. What scope, guys? We need to take that Spring Bean as what? Prototype scope Spring Bean. Convinced with me, my dear? Come on, everyone. My registration, my data. Your registration, your data. X person registration, X person data. So that data I want to store in Spring Bean. Okay, all the data same? No. In different situation, we are going to take different data values, right? So that time we have to prefer working with what, guys? Prototype scope Spring Bean. We have to take the support of what, guys? Prototype scope Spring Bean. Is that clear, guys? Come on, everyone. Super, guys. Yeah, can we upload the notes? What's your batch code? 5:30 p.m., right? This is 5:30 p.m. Spring Boot core. Other day notes is uploaded or not uploaded? Okay, now tell me, total how many scopes are there for Spring Bean? How many scopes we completed? What is mostly used scope? What is the default scope? Okay. When data of the Spring Bean is changing time to time, what is the preferred scope? In web application environment, what scopes we prefer? Request, application, session. Did we discuss about those scopes, guys? Okay, our next class we are going to talk about what? Remaining 4 scopes plus, okay, like component, other annotations also there to make a Java class as Spring Bean. Not just Spring Bean, additional facilities also they can add. Not just Spring Bean, additional facilities also they can add. That is what we are going to discuss in next class. Clear? Super. Okay. Where is this, guys? Spring. Where is this story? 515. Spring core. I think last class notes also not given, it seems. 8th notes, whatever it is, 8th, 9th, one and the same. Replace. Yes, guys. First we understood injections. Constructor, setter, all this thing. Field injection is good. Fastest injection is constructor injection. Then we are understanding scopes. Once scopes are over, we'll discuss stereotype annotation. Then Spring Bean lifecycle methods are there. And special features are there for application context container. All these things we are going to discuss. With that, Spring core module will be completed. Then we will start understanding Spring Boot core module. What core module? Yes, Spring Boot core. There we'll learn fundamentals of Spring Boot programming. Then we will take serious module. One module data JPA for database interaction. Data MongoDB for MongoDB interaction, right? There is a one more module called there is one more module called WebMVC for web application development. A REST module to develop distributed application. Lastly, we have cloud module to develop microservice architecture application. Like this, one by one, we will reveal and we will talk understanding. So Spring Core, Spring Boot Core to understand fundamentals of Spring programming. Looks like bit theory and proof of concept. But once you go to data JPA, MVC, you will enjoy like anything. Their serious application development will be there. Convinced, my dear? Come on, everyone. Right. Thank you, guys. Have a nice time.